Hi guys, welcome to Bath Fizz and Foam page. It's Friday, which means it's time for Face to Face Friday. My name is Robyn French Smith, and we're gonna make some bubble scoops today. So first I'm gonna put my hair up and then put something over my hair because that protects my hair from getting in the stuff I'm making, and also the stuff I'm making from getting in my hair. Okay. Oy. Also gonna put some gloves on, and then let's go. So today, hey, Lena says, hey. Oh, first time you caught me right from the start. Oh my God. You get to see how I fumble every time at the beginning. I'm like, my name is, or today is. It's literally the only way that I know what day it is by these things. Oh, should I admit that? I did. Can't take it back. Okay, so I'm going to be using Wonder Bar that has been master batched. So I master batched a bunch of it a while back. This container holds about 4 batches inside of it. And I'm going to scoop out, I'm going to do a full batch, which I don't know. Every time I'm like, I'm going to check. I'm going to check next time. And then I never do. But I think it's 800, maybe 860, maybe 820. I don't know. I wish I could remember these things. Yeah. So, well, anyway, I'm going to scoop out 800. That feels like it should work. And then I'm going to add some rubbing alcohol just to, I'm looking for the visual cue that this is ready. So a lot of people get hung up sometimes on the actual amount of rubbing alcohol that we put into it. And really, where do I put this? Really the rubbing alcohol is kind of a range. So you may need as much as we do. You may need more. If you find that you need significantly more, okay, so we did have some people who were saying I'm in a dry climate and when I'm trying to pipe it, I'm having to put in 200 grams of rubbing alcohol. So if you're finding that is the case, then we have tentatively tested with a few people having them either add more glycerin, which I don't like that solution because glycerin is it can get sticky fast with glycerin. So it's not my favorite solution. Or switching the cocoa butter for, how did I know? How did I know? Switching the cocoa butter for rubbing alcohol. Oh, you know what? The other thing I'm going to do before I start adding all this in there, I should probably add my fragrance. So since this is master batch, it doesn't have fragrance in it. And that's easy. You just do 1 to 2% of whatever amount that you added, or whatever your fragrance rating says that you can put in. I think 1 to 2% is plenty, but some people want more. Oh, Lena just said that. It would be handy to know the scent ratio for Wonder Bar when you start to master batch. Yeah, so you can just do 1 to 2% of whatever you weigh out. So I weighed out 800 grams. 1% is 8. Am I right? Please tell me I'm right. 2% is 16. So that's what we're going with. Hope it's right. I'm using Loving Spell from Nature's Garden. This is the last of my batch. I have to get some more because I have a customer that loves it. But so I'm using Loving Spell, and I'm gonna put that in there. So yeah, Lena says it's smart. Thank you. Oh my God. No, you're smart. Okay, so I have that in there now. So I'm just going to start adding some rubbing alcohol to visually check. Once I get it past the point where it'll like bounce out, well, okay, I'll just take this off. It doesn't look like, I was worried it was gonna like be going all over the place, but it doesn't look like it is. So you guys can watch. The other thing I'm going to do kind of early on, so I'm going to separate this into two colors. Since this is Loving Spell, it's got like a lot of citrus notes, but some floral notes too. So I'm thinking orange and pink. I like that combination. And I want to try to do the striped method that I think, I want to say it's Sarah Barnes. If I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry, girl. I think it was Sarah Barnes did like a striped method that was like really cool looking. So I want to try that. So to do that, I'm going to just start, I'm going to add pink to the whole batch. And this is a lake. I like to use lakes. I feel like they're the easiest to use. You could also use mica. I might even throw some mica in there because pink has a tendency to fade. So we'll see. Hi, Denise from Malaysia. How are you? Okay, so now I'm going to keep adding the rubbing alcohol. I'm going to close this back up so I don't have an accident, which I did have that a few weeks ago. Okay, so to help, I think I am going to put some mica in just to kind of help hold the color, but I don't want to put too much in because I don't want there to be like a lot of residue left in the tub. I'm not about that life. So I'm just going to put in like 1/8 of a teaspoon of this lollipop from Nurture Soap. And that's just going to help like stabilize the color once, because like lakes are dyes that have been sprayed onto a substrate. So they're still going to be prone to UV sensitivity, just not as prone. So they're stabilized, but they're not as prone. But pink is, she's going to fade the fastest. And when I say the fastest, I'm saying like 3 or 4 weeks, eventually she'll fade after that time. Whereas like a pink dye, I just did this for, well, I can't get there. I just did this for a video for YouTube that I'm editing. I haven't finished editing it yet, but it talks about micas, lakes, and dyes, and I set them out in the sun. And so you can see like drastically like how much the dye fades just from being in the sun for 1 day. So, and I'm sorry, I should have probably weighed the rubbing alcohol just to give you like a reference, but I didn't. I'm so used to not doing that I didn't do it. I apologize. Hello from Canada, from Julie. Hi. Julie wants to know, do I use crazy colors at all? I do have some crazy colors and some easy colors, and I use those for my dyes. I use dyes for my dyes. No, I use those for my embeds. I don't really use them in like the body of my bath bomb, with like maybe the exception of yellow. And I don't use them, I don't know, I just save them for my dyes. I definitely don't use them in bubble bars because you have to add so much rubbing alcohol that they're going to bleed like all over the place. Rebecca says that she's making a Wonder Bar project now. Yay! Okay, so see how just like letting it mix is like, that was a long time of mixing. I know your ear balls are probably like, please stop with the mixer. My youngest son used to say, he's in the autistic spectrum, but he would say like everything. He would say, hurts my ears. So like everything. It's like if I'm, and it was basically like he knew what he was doing too. This is why it was like funny, because like he knew that he was manipulating the situation. So he would say, like, if I was singing in the car, he'd be like, hurts my ears. And I'd be like, baby, it is not hurting your ears. You're being rude. Okay, my child that I love. Anyway. So I'm just going to set that there. So this is the texture that I like for pressing, and I feel like pressing and scooping for me are basically the same texture. Where it's not really sticking to the side of the bowl, it's not sticking to my gloves, it's just kind of like a nice little ball of dough right there. To this part of it, I'm gonna add my yellow lake, and that is going to, let me wipe this off so I don't get pink in there. And that's gonna turn this orange. That's how you do two colors. That's how I do two colors. Okay, so I'm gonna add some yellow in there, and then I'm gonna have to like visually see, but that's one of the things I like about lakes too, is you just kind of, you know, eyeball it. And yellow 5 and red 27 like this together, they make a super cool looking neon orange that I adore. So this is like, well, this is more like Garfield orange, but it's a great orange. So I love that. It's nice and bright. Plus it's gonna like color the water nicely. So if you used a yellow 6, which looks orange, it wouldn't actually be like, what did I get? It wouldn't actually be orange in the water. It kind of doesn't have really any color payout, which if you don't want there to be that orange tint competing with your main color, then that's a good thing. But I don't want that. I want it to show up in the water. Okay, I didn't think this through, but let's put this over here. The other thing I was going to say about Wonder Bar is probably the biggest complaint that we have about it are occasionally we get people who don't like the amount of bubbles that's in it, which is really interesting that this happens because, like, for me and Amanda, we get tons of bubbles with it, but every now and then we have people who are like, I don't get enough bubbles from it, therefore ipso facto I do not like it. Sam I am. It doesn't work. Not for me. So it's kind of interesting that that happens. It does use a liquid surfactant and it uses a powder surfactant, but it uses significantly less surfactant than the other leading bubble bars, because I have bought, before Wonder Bar came out, I had purchased every bubble bar recipe looking for a really good bubble bar recipe that would like dry for me. That's like kind of period, like that's kind of it. Like I just needed something that would dry for me because I live in Houston and it's like super humid all the time. So that was like my biggest problem, was that they wouldn't dry for me. But when Amanda created Wonder Bar, I was very happy because it dried for me. So the moral of that story is that I have a lot of bubble bar recipes that I've purchased over the years as I was looking for like the perfect bubble bar recipe, and so I know the amounts that other recipes have, and like some of them have like 1 cup of baking soda, 1 cup of SLSA, and I'm like, oh my god, that's so much SLSA. But anyway, the point of all that is that if you don't like the amount of bubbles, if you wanted to have more bubbles, you can always add more SLSA. You can also try sourcing a different liquid surfactant, because I have a couple that I've gotten from like different suppliers. So the liquid surfactant we use is cocamidopropylbetaine. If I said that right, like, dang, 2022 coming at you. Okay. But you know, yeah, you could like try to source it from different places. So I have some from Soaper's Choice that's like really bubbly. I really like that one. So yeah, that's like the only complaint we usually get, is that they wish it had more bubbles. And the ingredient that creates bubbles in any recipe, bath bomb or bubble bar, is a surfactant, which is usually SLSA, but there are like other surfactants out there. So that's the end of that story. Okay, so I know it looks like I'm making a bubble roll, and I guess I could actually turn this into a bubble roll. I did not review the amazing guide for making striped bubble bars before I began this, which you would think would be important. So we're just gonna wing it here. I think I know how to do it. Oh, Chelsea says also you need more agitation to make bubbles. That's definitely a thing. You have to, you can't just drop it in the water and make bubbles. Your water pressure makes a difference, the hardness of your water. There's just a lot of things that go into it, but like, obviously we wouldn't sell it if we didn't think it was awesome. So if you don't think it's awesome, I'm sorry. We're doing the best we can. Oh look, I just happen to have a knife here. Lena says that it's great, but you have to be really careful with the vanillin scents, so that they don't turn it brown. That is true. Okay, so look, I sliced it and now I have layers like that, and I'm just gonna set it in. I don't know if this is how I'm supposed to do it. This is how I'm doing it. All right, I just set it in there. Because later I'm gonna want to move this. Okay, so I just pushed it in there. Now we're gonna try. This scoop is from Walmart, I want to say. Love it. Now you're always going to have the backside is going to be like a little bit smoother. Some are worse than others. Like some of the scoopers come out to there with the smoothness. So you just have to maybe like look for a scooper that you like. The other thing that I do is I like scrape the back after each one. I find that that tends to help like make a design come out cleaner if I'm looking for a design. Okay, I think I'm going to get 8, so I'm just going to go ahead and mark this. Whew, whew, whew. That's not 8. But it's okay. Alright, so then I'm going to do this again. Actually, let's try it this way. I'm sorry. I failed you, Sarah. Okay, look, I'm going to put it in like this. Okay. Like where this is my scraper, so I'm putting the lines in like that. But, so this is like a really cute, especially if you do like high contrast colors. These are both like really kind of close to each other as far as like contrast, so it may be harder for you guys to see it, although like here, visually, I can see it pretty easily. So yeah, if you want the colors to switch a little bit. Susan says, this is a Pioneer Woman Scooper. Okay, yeah, I know it was like, I thought it was Better Homes and Gardens maybe was the brand. Is that the same brand? I just know like I have a mini scooper. This one that I got off of Amazon, and I had like a big scooper of it too, and like eventually this part broke on my big scooper, and this one also makes like a really, like the back part of it is a lot more smooth. So definitely if you don't like the way your scooper is scooping, just shop around and try to find like, you know, a good scooper for you. I mean, that never gets old. I'm just saying, like, okay, so like my favorite way to use Wonder Bar is to pipe it, just because it's like so pretty. But honestly, I am a sucker for the scoops because it's so satisfying to scoop them. Like, and we all know that, like, we do this for ourselves. If you're doing a craft like this, you're not doing it for the big dollars, holla. You're doing it because it satisfies something inside of you. And I have to say, that's freaking satisfying, okay? It also smells amazing. Okay, so Susan says that Better Homes and Gardens is a different brand and she likes the handle on this one better. Okay, so look at that. Yeah, and you should always have a backup scooper. So like I have this one as my backup in case something goes wrong and I like break this one. But like, you guys, always have a backup scooper because you'll go through them. Now I've noticed with Wonder Bar, like I haven't had nearly as many. I don't think I've broken a single, God, why did I say that? Knock on wood. I don't think I've broken a single one since Wonder Bar. Why did I say that? The gods laugh. The other really cool thing about this is these will be dry, I want to say within 24 to 48 hours. They'll be dry pretty dang quickly, which is awesome. And I still would wait to package them for like 48 hours. If there's like there's one of the YouTube videos, I can't remember which one, where I talked about how when we were at the boot camp, I was there by myself, and I was like in the house by myself, and we had prepped a whole bunch of Wonder Bar, and it was in like those tubs that we had the lids on it like real tight, and I'm like in there by myself, and I hear like in the next room, I hear like poof, and I was like, of course I'm listening to like true crime, and I'm like, I'm in Florida. I'm like, oh my God, somebody is here to get me. And it happened like 3 or 4 more times. And I was the smart person in a scary movie. I didn't walk out and was like, hello? Because that girl's always going to be the first one to die. But so I didn't do that. I just sat in my room and was like, but basically it was the gases. So Wonder Bar does release a small amount of gas, and I'm guessing it's because there's cream of tartar, which is slightly acidic, and baking soda. So the reaction between an acid and a base is going to create gas, even if it's just like a small amount. So anyway, there's your story for the day. Oh, Sheila says that you love them and that you think that they're very pretty, but for some reason they don't sell for you. Okay, you know what? I meant to bring one of these over here and I didn't do it. I have an issue right now. Like, I rearranged my shop, but like when I got this shop, okay, I need an outlet right here, basically. I'm not going to go on to this like whole long thing, but I need an outlet right there. I don't have one. So I have like this booby trapped right now with like an extension cord. But I'll hop it in just a second and I'll show you this kind of like bubble packaging. I don't know if you've tried it yet, but I've seen like a few people in the group using it, and I take my bath bombs and bubble bars, I take everything I make to a little shop here in Houston, and they offload it for me, thankfully, because otherwise I'd be drowning in product. And they commented like, hey, you know, the bubble scoops are cute, but they just aren't selling that fast. And so we changed the packaging on them, and it really helped them move, especially during the holidays. So I'll go grab one of those and show you, unless somebody pipes up and says, yes, we know what that is. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9 scoops out of it. So pretty. Okay, let me go grab that thing and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Jesus, take the wheel. Okay. Oh my God, I'm doing like the limbo under that thing. Okay, so these are like, I've seen people in the group with these. And the one thing I noticed is that I used to like to do like a really ruffled bottom on the bottoms of these. And if I did that, they didn't fit inside the scoop packaging. But if I don't do a ruffled bottom, these fit just right on this little thing. And then I can put the little dome top on them. If I can. Okay, so then you have, and it's really pretty, and there's kind of more of an aesthetic to it. And so we switched the packaging for that because I had them in organza bags and they just weren't moving that much. So this is an option. The other thing we did, and I don't have those are next door, but it was like a box that had like a frosted top so you could see through the box, and it had like a spot for each 4, and I think we called them like gourmet bubble bath. And we had like just random things that we threw in there, and the boys said that those sold really well too. So I can leave a link for this. I got these on Amazon. It wasn't my idea. The group, if you're not in our support group, I'm guessing that you are, but if you're not in our support group, you should definitely be, because there's like so many good ideas that get shared in that group all the time. The stripe design and these things were both, like, I didn't think of those. Somebody in our group thought of those. So you guys are awesome. That's pretty much it for the day, guys. I know that there are some questions. Hold on. Has anyone asked what size scoop you're using? I'm using this size. Let me see how many ounces it makes. When it dries, obviously it's gonna lose some weight. We'll keep doing this one because I keep manhandling him, so like he's gonna be all dented and stuff anyway. So these are like 3.4 ounces, so probably they're gonna range from like 3.2 to 3.5 ounces, which is like 96 grams. So it's gonna kind of be in that range. So you're looking for maybe like a 3.5 ounce scoop, if that helps. Yeah, I think that that's it. Let me see if I can see any more like just random questions. No, but I see lots of awesome comments that I will go back and respond to. That's pretty much it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and as always, happy making. Bye.